Okay, so everyone probably just got an announcement to say recording's in progress, and we've got for purposes of the video, for people looking later, we've actually just got the yeast, the sugar and the water in the Thermomix activating at the moment. There's only a few seconds left to go on that. Here we go. All right, so lid off, 400 grams of baker's flour. As we know, baker's flour is a higher protein flour than regular plain flour. It's not a huge amount more, but it is enough to give it a bit extra strength, make things like bread, just that texture just a bit better. But look, if you only have plain flour, then use plain flour. But I must admit, I don't actually have plain flour in my house. The only flour I have is baker's flour. Whenever a recipe calls for plain flour, I just use baker's flour. So there we go. And 30 grams of olive oil, which is 2 tablespoons. So whenever you come across a recipe that says a tablespoon of olive oil, pop in 15 grams. Saves dirtying the spoon. A teaspoon of salt. It says sea salt. I don't have sea salt. I've got pink salt, which is a habit I got into because it's pink, so it doesn't look like sugar or anything else. And after making a batch of muffins with salt instead of sugar, I like to know the difference now. So I always use pink salt. I mean, I did that when I was really, really young. I wouldn't do that now, but that's because I use pink salt. But I just find it a lot easier because I can really tell the difference, especially on my prep things. Okay, so lid on, and we're going to now just knead it for 2 minutes. So it's set 2 minutes and kneading mode, like that. Let's get my filling ingredients out of the way, ready for the dough. Any questions at this point? I'm sure you've all seen me make bread so many times. It gets a bit boring after a while. So as you can see, this a really nice heavy board here, and as you can see, well, I don't know if you can see in the video. See how it's just sort of jiggling around? And board, this one, as I always say, this one is why they say not to put it on anything other than a bench, because if my board now decided to start moving and fall into my sink, which is actually underneath here, I'd be in strife. I have put little rubber mats to hold it in place, and I actually now have a husband on the other side there holding the board as well. So, yeah, but it just made for better camera angles moving it over to here. But this board is actually really seriously chunky and heavy. It is the Thermomix one from the mix shop, and it's got this space, well, it has a gap on one side where you can actually sort of fit your jug under to scrape your ingredients into, but it is so heavy, I thought I'd give this one a go on here. Beautiful. All done. Now, that's how quick it is to make pizza dough, for those of you who haven't done it. All right, so beautiful dough there. Easiest way to get your dough out, flip the jug upside down and give the knob on the jug a twist, and the dough will come out. Most of it's come out. If there's anything left on your blade, pop back into your jug. Just jumped out of the recipe. I'm going to turbo mode. And now for those of you who got your TM6 update where you can change all your modes around, I've moved all mine, so now I have to find them all again. It's done 1 second on turbo. That will shoot all the dough out to the sides, and I'll press the little bookmark button to jump you straight back into my recipe. And as you can see, all the dough has now come off the blades, so I can just grab a nice lump of this beautiful dough, and I'm just going to run that around the bowl, out the sides, like a lump of blue tack. And that jug is now actually clean enough for me to do the filling in without having to do any washing. So I am actually just going to shape this into a bit of a ball so it can prove. I'm just, you see, I'm just sort of bringing the sides in like this so that it makes a nice smooth top ball. And wrap that just loosely in my mat because I do want it to grow a little bit. I'm not going to do it too tight. If you don't have a mat and you want to do this, you can either pop it in into a bowl, like they said, or in some Glad wrap, again, just loosely wrapped. And previously, or just prior to starting, I popped my oven onto its lowest temperature. So I'm now turning it off that. So my oven is now just gently warm. I'm just popping my dough in there, and that can just have a nice little rise in there. If you don't have oven that goes down really low or a spare oven for doing that sort of thing, some things you can do, if you've got a thermoserver, just put boiling water in it, a few inches of boiling water, pop the lid on the thermoserver, and then pop your wrapped dough sitting on top, because the thermoserver will keep that water nice and hot for ages, and you'll just have a gentle heat coming through the lid. The other thing I quite often do, but I can't because I'm about to use my Thermomix, is to use the fermenting mode on my Thermomix, or if you've got a TM5, you can still do it. But you put your dough in your baroma, pop a cup of water. It only needs 200, 250 mils, nothing much like that. Set it on 70 degrees, and 30 minutes or so will give you a nice rise on your bread dough for things like this. Okay, if you're using fermenting mode, it has a minimum of an hour, so just stop it before it gets to the hour. You honestly don't need to go that long. Doesn't matter if you forget and leave it that long, but you don't need it to go that long. Okay, so we've now got our dough thing. Now it says clean and dry mixing bowl. I'm not going to. My bowl looks really clean and nice, so I'm going to jump straight into my filling recipe while that's proving. Here's all my ingredients I prepared earlier. I have these lovely bowls with these clear lids. Now, first ingredient is 300 grams of mozzarella. I made a point of not going out and buying any ingredients for these dishes today. I've just used what I have in my house. So I just couldn't be bothered going out to the shops. So I actually have tasty cheese instead of mozzarella. So I'm sure not be the end of the world. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm actually throwing a clove of garlic in with mine because I like garlic. So I've got cheese in there. And then it says 100 grams of Parmesan. I actually have Parmesan that's already grated, so I'm not popping it in at this stage. But Nicole, you're doing, I'm sure, I know what you're like. I'm sure you've got all the correct ingredients. So pop your cheeses in.
I have mozzarella that was already grated, and I'm using fresh Parmesan that I've got to
Okay, well then you can
go the other way around.
You're doing it the other way around, yeah. But at least you had mozzarella. But I thought I'm not going to the shops just to get mozzarella. So there we go. All right, so it says 10 seconds, speed 8. Now, because I'm using Tasty, which is a slightly different consistency to mozzarella and Parmesan, which but both very different as well. I'm actually going to go by sound with it, because quite often with Tasty cheese, if you let it go too long, you end up with cheese paste. We don't necessarily want cheese paste. So, but we have got 300 grams, which is a fair amount of cheese in there. I don't think it's going to take, probably about 5 or 6 seconds. So we'll just see how we go. I don't know if the sound's going to cut out. Let's have a look. Okay, did you hear that, or did the sound cut out?
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of. Okay, well that was 5 seconds. So I didn't go the full 10 seconds. That's 5 seconds, and that is what I've ended up with as Tasty cheese. Okay, and I can smell it. My clove of garlic is totally blitzed in there as well. So I didn't have to do the full 10 seconds, but I will now throw my, wherever it is, my grated Parmesan in with it, because the next step is pretty much put all your filling ingredients in together. So that's the Parmesan. Now we want 155 grams of sun-dried tomato strips, drained, but the oil reserved. So I just buy the ones in a jar in the supermarket. They're already in strips, Woolies brand, just home brand things. And I know we need 50 grams of the oil, so I've actually mixed it back in here. But I didn't have enough tomato strips, so I've actually got some roasted pepper in there as well to make up the quantity. So again, you can be really, do what you want for this recipe. So I've just got a bowl here of sun-dried tomato strips and roasted pepper strips, and it's actually already got the oil that it's going to tell me to put in later, just to save containers. So 120 grams of sliced ham, and again, if you read the tips, it says you can use bacon, prosciutto. I was thinking about throwing some chorizo in, or whatever you like. Okay, so I've just got triple smoked ham, so it's quite a flavoursome one, and cut into pieces. So it's just a rough cut. There, 40 grams of tomato paste. I have these little sachets because when I go and do demos, it's a lot easier taking one of these than taking a little container of tomato paste. So seeing as I'm not out doing demos at the moment because of lockdown, that's why I'm using this rather than opening a whole new jar and getting out 40 grams. So, and I did have some homemade tomato paste in the fridge, but not quite enough. So it's just as easy to do this. So these sachets have about 50 grams. So they're the sort of the right size for doing things like the creamy coconut chicken curry and those sorts of things when we do demos. Okay, egg. It just says an egg. It doesn't say what size. So just an egg. Now, so the egg is in there to hold everything together. So when it cooks, it will actually set. So that is the trick to your ingredients for this particular dish. Whatever you choose to put in, make sure it's going to hold together, okay? Because, sun-dried tomatoes and stuff, the cheese will just sort of run everywhere. They're not going to stick together, but your egg will hold it together. And off we go. Dried oregano to taste. I don't know how you're supposed to do things to taste when they say this. A teaspoon of sugar and salt to taste. So I've just got those 3 ingredients in there. I've probably got half a teaspoon of salt, only because I wasn't going to sort of stir it up and then start eating it just to see how salty it was. That was just a guess. Okay, 50 grams of the sun-dried tomato oil. Remember, I actually had that in with my tomatoes, so that's in there. And there we go. Now, this is one of those awesome recipes where it has a little video to show you what it's talking about when it's telling you to insert the spatula and use that to help mix while it's going. So I do love about the TM6 having these little videos, because what you do when you play the video, it shows you what it's talking about. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, you see the video there, how it's, yep. So you're using your spatula, which has got its little collar to show what you're doing. So you don't have to play the videos if you know what you're doing. But whenever they think there's something that might need a little bit more explanation, they quite often throw a little video in now. All right, so we're going speed 10 seconds, speed 7, using our spatula to help. Remember, your spatula, although it will help the food, it won't hit the blades. So that's really cool. Now, so just set our mix aside. Let's have a look, see what this looks like. There we go. All right, so we're nicely mixed. Oh, actually, I wonder if I've got a bowl that it will fit in. I might use my flour bowl, I think. I'm just going to get this out so you can see what it looks like. So it's sort of pasty. It's almost like a sausage roll filling, except it's cheesy and tomato-y. So scrape all that out. And again, if you want to get it all out, you do turbo, it will shoot everything out to the sides. So if you only have one jug at this point, you'd want to wash it. But I could actually pop it in pre-clean. But what I'm going to do is have a look at our dough and decide if it's hooked up enough. And it's only been about 15 minutes. They say to do like an hour. So we're sort of cutting a few little corners. Do that. We could always jump onto the custard if we really want to do. What do you want to do, Nicole? Do you want to let your dough prove a little bit longer?
Yeah, I don't think my dough will have risen enough, so.
Okay. We can pop our things for this side and jump onto our custard. How about that?
Yeah. Louise, just before you start, I've got a question.
Yes.
In your Facebook page, you had some links for some other fillings that we could use.
Yep.
I like the sound of the one that had the what was it called? The cauliflower Alfredo sauce.
Yeah.
Do you think? Yeah. I just wondered. Do you think that would be too liquidy? I was just looking at it, sort of thing, and I just wondered if it was too liquidy.
Well, I mean, what I would do with that is probably tweak it to make it a bit chunkier, and add the egg in as well to make sure that, but it's sort of, that was more, I suppose, to give you some idea of sort of flavour combinations
okay,
of things, because you know, sometimes it's just that little bit of inspiration that you need. And I mean, I tend to, look at something like that and go, oh yeah, I never would have thought of doing like that. So as long as you end up with what I would call, look, a sausage roll consistency.
Right, okay.
Okay, so it's sort of pasty like that. I did see someone who did a cheese and spinach one, and they said their filling was quite runny. They actually used a piping bag to pipe it on, but then it's set afterwards.
Oh, okay.
So, but obviously this is a good consistency to work with. If you've got as long as it's not running, as long as it can sort of hold its shape, you'll probably be fine. And again, you want to make sure it's got the egg or something in it that will make it hold solid when it cooks. Yeah, because even things I was thinking, doing something like using chicken mince, like a sausage roll filling with lots of herbs and things, you wouldn't ever need an egg for that, because you have chicken when it cooks, chicken mince when it cooks holds together, it glues together like that. So you could do that sort of thing. So here we go. All right, so we can jump onto our custard very easily, because we can just exit out of that recipe that we were in. And it's gone dark outside, but I've still got my skylight there. I'm going to go to my weekly planner and bring up the peanut butter and chocolate custard recipe. Now, again, I didn't have all the correct ingredients, but pretty close. Oh. Because it asked for, now, Nicole, are you ready to start your custard?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Yep, cool. It says it wants 50 grams of dark chocolate, 50% cacao, broken into small pieces. So what it's saying is it doesn't want super, super, super dark chocolate, but not milk chocolate either. Okay, and I think the main reason for that is the higher the percentage of cacao in your chocolate is the harder the chocolate, so it melts at a different temperature, that sort of thing. Okay, so what I have done is, here we go. The only chocolate I had in my pantry was 70%. Okay, so it says broken into small pieces. I've actually made it into quite small bits. If you really wanted to, people, you can grate it in there, but with the dirty jug. If you've got dark chocolate, quite dark chocolate, what I did, I put it on a board and I just had a knife and I was sort of slicing through quite thin slices. And what it does is it almost shaves it. It just sort of falls apart into really little bits. And that's because of the higher cacao content. It's actually quite a harder chocolate. Whereas if you've got the 50% dark chocolate, you wouldn't need to go quite so small. Okay, but again, this is just making do with what you have in your pantry if you can't be bothered going shopping. I'm
pretty sure mine's got Easter eggs in there as well. It's just broken chocolate. I don't care.
Okay, well, they melt really easily. So Easter eggs are awesome. No, I mean, you could use milk chocolate for this as well. You just won't have almost like as chocolatey a flavour. So that's why they've still got that balance between wanting the good chocolate flavour, but also being able to melt, because we're not actually going to be putting the chocolate in to melt. We're just using the heat of the custard to melt it. Okay, so that's where that comes in. All right, so we'll pop our chocolate aside and 40 to 50 grams of raw sugar. I'm sure I have some raw sugar somewhere. Ah, yes, there we go. It says to taste. Again, I've never tasted this recipe, so I don't know what 40 to 50 grams of sugar is like in it. So if in doubt, go with what the recipe says the first time you do it. If you make it and you go, oh, that's all a bit sweet, fine. Next time, cut your sugar down. But I haven't done it, so I'm
If
just
you're using a
trusting.
darker chocolate as well, Lou, and you're not used to it, or the recipe doesn't call for it, add a bit more sugar in as well.
Yeah,
And I have made this, and it's pretty.
It's good, is it?
Yeah, I approve.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so we've got 40 to 50 grams. So I've got, yeah, I think I put 50 grams. And 15 grams of corn flour. I've actually just got those in the same bowl just to make life easy. And 500 grams of milk. Mine's just, it's not full cream milk. It's just, you know, the reduced fat type thing. Beauty of doing custards is you can use any sort of milk. If you want to use almond milk, use almond milk. It doesn't have to be dairy, as in cow milk, to make custard. All right. So a teaspoon of vanilla. Let's get my teaspoons. We have some light. Yep, cool. Oh, no, not that one. All right, we have 2 eggs. Let's break those straight in. One. 2. Lid on. And it's gone on to it's going to go into thickening mode. If you've got your TM5 and you're doing auto custard, you're pretty much following the same ingredients. It just has a slightly different mode when it comes to thickening, but the end result works. So.
And Lou, I think this is my first time using thickening mode.
Oh, is it? Oh, you're going to love it. Thickening mode is so good. Yeah, you want to make just a little bit of cheese sauce or white sauce or something. You don't have to follow a recipe. You can just, throw in, as long as you know how to make a white sauce. Throw in a spoon of flour, spoon of butter, a bit of milk. I mean, if you're used to doing it on the stove, you sort of, I don't know about you, but I never measure it out if I'm doing something like a white sauce or cheese sauce on the stove.
I used to be able to I could make a white sauce when I was 12 on the stove I'd never even had a Thermomix at that point. So.
Yeah, well, that was one of the first things I learned to make was like white sauce, as in when I was a child. So now, if you're using thickening mode, just throw in, spoon of flour, spoon of butter, bit of milk, go, looks about right. Bit of salt, a bit of pepper, whatever you want there, and just hit thickening mode. You don't have to set any times or anything, and it will just do it. So
I haven't avoided it. I just haven't got around to it.
Oh yeah, no, it's just one of those things when you need it, it'll be there. And apparently, it's awesome for making gravy as well. Instead of doing the stovetop gravy where you've got you've done your roast, you've got all the meat fat and stuff, and you add your flour in and you're there making your roux, and then you add your liquid in. You can actually just throw your meat juices and stuff in, a spoon of flour, a bit of stock, some water, and hit thickening, and you'll end up with gravy. So how cool is that? But so this will just do its thing. And then what we're going to be doing is some of the custard is going to be poured on top of the chocolate. And that's what's going to melt it. All right. And then we've got peanut butter. Now, Nicole, did you make the peanut brittle to go on top?
Sorry, I'm used to because I had children. I didn't, but I happened to have some because I had a treat box being delivered last night as part of a charity auction I was doing. So we actually had peanut brittle, but it wasn't by design. It was by accident.
Oh, that's right. I saw your treat box. That looked really awesome. Yeah, because I haven't made the peanut brittle. I had no peanuts. So and I was thinking, I could make some other one, but I didn't. But I might just put some flakes of chocolate or something on. Once it's cool, I'll pop some chocolate on top of it. Now, I'm just going to have a look at my pizza dough. Put that out. Whoop. Yeah, look, it's starting to grow. How's your pizza dough looking, Nicole?
It's growing. I wouldn't care about starting it now or when you're ready. So
yeah,
I'm using old yeast as well, so I don't expect it to do great. It worked last time I used it. We made pizzas last week, so it works, but it's not.
It's probably just not as energetic. So I'm just going to try and see, because what we're going to want to do is roll out into about a 30 centimetre thing. And if I can roll out part of it into a 30 centimetre, then good to go. So let me just, so I'm using my Thermomix, as you can see. The circle here is 28. So I know a 30 centimetre is going to be about a centimetre on the outside of that line. So if I let it prove a bit longer, it'd probably be easier to roll. It would have a bit more volume in it, but it seems to be.
Is it happy enough?
Mine seems to be happy enough to roll out.
Right.
So I reckon, we can give that a go. At least have it started. So theoretically, you know what happens as soon as you lift it off your mat, it shrinks back. But
mine, it's sticking to my mat too, so I think I'm going to have to flour it.
Yeah, put a bit of flour or a bit of olive oil, because remember, if you had it in a bowl, it would have had a bit of oil on it. Mine's not sticky, so that's good. And I've got a pizza tray, and I'm putting baking paper. It says to line your pizza tray, so I will. And I'm just going to, as soon as I lift it up, obviously it shrinks back a bit, but I'm just going to stretch it out to the sides. So I mean, that's pizza tray size. And mine rolled out no problems. Okay. How are we going? Oh, yes, still 4 minutes, so that's okay. Now, but here's where we can't go back into our recipe while our thing is on there, but I do have a book. So it's saying, place the dough, roll each portion into a ball using a rolling pin. Roll each ball into a 30 centimetre round. Set one dough round the side. Place the other on the pizza tray. Okay. So we are going to roll both out. Remember, whenever you're rolling pastry or dough or whatever, if you have it starting from the shape that you want, it makes it a lot easier. So if you're wanting a rectangle, shape your dough into a square or rectangle to start with. Same with if you're wanting to do a circle. Start with a circle. It just makes it easier. Why make life extra hard? Okay. Here's my second pizza round, which I'm going to pop aside. And bring back my one on my tray. And I might just bring that there. Okay, how are you going, Nicole? Is yours rolling out okay?
Yeah, it's just springing back because I've got the olive oil on there. I'll get there. It's workable.
It will get there. Okay, now what it's saying, first thing to do is to make the center of your sun using a 10 centimeter or 4-inch bowl. So I've got a little one that looks like that. It's actually a measuring bowl, but I thought that was a nice shape for doing my little mound in the center. So we're going to pack this in. I'm thinking, wonder if I should have greased it first so that stuff will come out, but hopefully the oil, our custard is done. We can pop our things aside for the moment if you want, Nicole. Pop our pizza aside. Jump back to custard. Huh. Jumping backwards and forwards. Okay, I'll get that out of the way so you're not distracted by it. Because our next thing here is to immediately pour 1/3 of the custard. Okay, so, all right, I will just come back here. Okay, so we have our in here, 1/3 of the custard. I love how we're supposed to figure that out. On top of our chocolate. And that's hot on my finger. Get that off. Oh, my tea towel. All right. And stir it. So you can see my chocolate in the bottom. If I tilt that, with the custard on top, and we're melting it in with the hot custard. Okay, so this is why you want chocolate that's small enough and soft enough to melt, because we're not actually heating it. It is just the warmth of the custard. Yum. Okay, so I now have chocolate custard. And put the mixing bowl with the remaining custard back into position and pop in 70 grams of natural smooth peanut butter. So obviously you can make your own peanut butter, or I have, I'm just going to tip some of the oil off the top of that one. This is the Aldi peanut butter. It is 100% peanuts, but like a lot of peanut butters, it separates and the peanut oil comes to the top. So I'm going to pop 70 grams of this in my custard. I have no idea what 70 grams of peanut butter looks like, so I'm not guesstimating, I'm being a bit cautious. Nearly there. How are you going, Nicole?
My peanut butter's in.
Your peanut butter's in?
Well,
good.
It was more like 77 grams, but whatever. It's like garlic and vanilla. You just measure with your heart.
Yep, no, that's fair enough. The thing is, I mean, there's no point in having peanut butter custard that doesn't taste like peanut butter.
Right.
What I reckon. Okay, so I've got 75 in there, so that's pretty close. And we're popping our lid back on.
Lockie, can you go tell Charlotte this afternoon tea?
And speed 5 for 10 seconds just to blend that peanut butter through.
I don't have 2 glass bowls, so we're just having normal ones. But it's peanut butter custard.
Lovely. All right, so now here's where you can pop it into your serving glasses. So I just have, these are just little thermal coffee ones, only because I didn't have any pretty ones. We don't do sort of individual desserts in our house a lot, so let me just do a couple of these and we'll finish off our pizza stuff. So it's saying, so it should make 4. So I'm going to put, mind you, I have a teenage boy, so I should probably put one into a huge jar or something.
They're about the same. Well, I want to have some too. It's not just for you two. Right, so sit down, get a spoon.
The third one later, and excuse me while I just taste my peanut butter custard. Right, and okay, and we'll get a chocolate one. And on top. So half and I'll dish the rest of that up later. And we're going to stir it through to make it look pretty. We're sort of going to marble but we don't want to totally mix it. We just want it to look a little bit. Yeah. And the trouble with doing this in your glasses is you end up with yuck bits on the sides. That's my technical term for it. Okay, I'll pop those aside. But yeah, so we have a couple of little desserts there to cool down. And jump back onto pizza dough. And Nicole, you preheat your oven. Remember to do that. I'm sure it says to preheat it somewhere. Oh, there we go. Yep, 180 degrees. And we can actually come back to actually using our recipe. So I'm going to to make the center of your sun, see step photos to assist you. So it has got little pictures to help. All right, so I have my little bowl with my cheesy tomato filling. Let's see if it's actually going to come out of the bowl, because I don't think it is. How's yours, Nicole? Oh, there we go. That's not too bad. Okay, so we're just going to pop that in the center.
Oh, sorry, I was talking, but I was on my. I don't have a bowl the right size, so I use my EasyO container just to put like a bit of an indentation in the middle of my dough. I just freeformed it with a spoon.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I've ended up doing that too because it didn't want to come out of my little bowl. But hey,
yeah,
that's all right.
Yeah, no.
It'll all work. I'm actually going to wear gloves for the next bit because we're going to be putting the rest of the filling in a circle around the outside. So let's get a nice little center mound in, and here's where you can have the close-up of what's happening. Here we go. Okay, so this is where you want, whatever you're using as a filling, you're going to want to be able to manipulate it. If it's quite soft, you could use a piping bag if you needed to. But what we're doing is we're putting a ring around, but you can see that there's a gap in the center and at the edges, because we're going to be pressing the other piece of dough down to cover those bits. I reckon I've got a lot more filling than I'm actually going to use on this, but that's all right. I'll probably make another one tomorrow. Maybe my 30 centimetre circle has shrunk. But I still like the idea of doing a sausage roll one. I reckon that would be really yum. They say to make it about 4 to 5 centimetres wide. What's that, a couple of inches? Have you got lots of filling, Nicole?
Yeah, but I just made it fit.
Okay. I'm being conservative, I think.
Maybe.
I just don't want.
I figure my family's going to want to eat it all, so there's no point being shy about it. They're all going to.
Yeah, I just was thinking, oh, I don't want it to actually like fall out everywhere, but maybe.
Yeah, but the egg's in there to help bind it all. So
I know. See, look, you've been listening to me.
Well, I made a bit of a mess getting my extra layer of dough on there, so it's going to be ugly, pull apart, but whatever. Let's taste it.
That's all right, as long as it's tasty. I am piling it up. I will have some left, but that's all right. I'll do something else with that. I just don't want to push my luck. I mean, maybe my little centre mound wasn't as big as it should be or something. Who knows?
Yeah,
but look,
mine's probably at least 3-4 centimetres high as well.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've only got that much left, but
yeah,
I'm not going to push it. I'm going to take some gloves off. Well, you want it 2 to 3 centimetres from the edge. Yep, so I've got a clear inch. Now, we grab our other piece of dough and we're going to pop it over the top. So this is going to be fun to watch. Anyone who's muted who wants to unmute to have a really good laugh, feel free. I'm trying to work out whether it's better going from a side or from the center.
I don't know if there is a right way, Lou.
Okay, cool. That makes me feel better. Look, I'm just popping it over
Oh, well done.
It sort of looks like
Yeah, you did that much better than I did, Lou.
I think it was fear drove me. I mean, yeah.
And you're being recorded too. So.
Yeah, exactly. For posterity's sake, I don't want to become one of those great, what's it, great home videos or whatever, or where people.
Oh, they've nailed it.
Oh, yeah, nailed it would work too. Yeah. Now, it says to take your little bowl and pop it over the outside of your mound to shape it. So I'm actually leaving a little bit of a gap here for air to come out, and I have actually just wiped out the inside of my little bowl so I don't end up with sun-dried tomato everywhere. But I'm going to try and it's created suction.
Yeah, mine. I'm just using my fingers to press down as much as I can and try to get them to meld.
Okay, look, it seems to have worked. So what I'm actually going to do is use my fingers now to press in here, in between. The air can come out. I shouldn't have stuck that bit down. That's looking good. And then round that one and seal it off. Come here. Cover the bottom circle. Place a small bowl. Yeah, form an indentation, create the center, seal the outside edges with a fork. Okay. So the old sealing off a pie trick. Now, I don't know if I'm supposed to get all the air out or if it's better to get the air out. Or...
We're going to slice them anyway.
Sorry? Oh, yeah, of course we are. So it doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
I suppose we just want to make sure that the filling's sort of touching the dough when we go to make our sun rays. All right, I'm getting a fork out and press down my edges. Oh, I was going to say the light is so bright you can't actually see my thing too well. Pale dough with baking paper and skylight does not make for exciting TV viewing. I'm thinking it's going to be easier to cut off the pizza tray, but then would I be able to get it back on? Good question. Just making sure my indent in the center of my sun is indented. And okay, now use a sharp, long knife to cut the pizza into quarters. One. We're going to end up with 16 pieces here. Yeah, it's interesting because it's on the pizza tray. I've got a rim on the edge, which makes it really awkward. So I'm going to be and I'm going to use my pizza cutter. One, two, here we go. It's in the center of each, like so. You can see we're making like the rays of the sun. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yours all, oh, that doesn't look nice. Hang on. It's totally out of whack. Oh, well. What we do now is I'm going to pop back on my tray to do the turning. So we're going to be turning our little pieces so they face upwards, like rays of the sun, like so. How's yours going, Nicole? Looking beautiful?
Well, I made all no. I made all my cuts and I started to turn them, and some of the dough's like still like stuck to itself. So it's going to be ugly pizza, but I don't care.
I'm sure it's going to taste awesome. That's
right.
Yeah, my theory is anything made with pizza dough or bread dough is always going to taste good. And the filling sounds nice. So.
Oh, well, I pride myself in my homemade ugly lasagna as well. So I don't care that it's not going to look pretty.
Okay. Now I haven't been very even with my sun rays. And I didn't cut with like sharp knife. As you saw, I used my pastry cutter. So I sort of just pressed down on it. But hey, it's getting there. So it is sort of looking like a sun. Yeah, if you close one eye, squint, all that sort of stuff, you could probably think it was a sun. And it would definitely feature on one of those nailed it pages where everyone laughs at what people have been doing.
Hi, Louise.
Yeah.
It's Deirdre.
Hi, Deirdre.
I'm doing this with gluten-free pastry flour.
Oh, yeah?
And it's hilarious. Anyway.
I can imagine, because there's certain techniques that you need to change for gluten-free because it doesn't have quite the same properties as gluten.
Yeah.
Things.
Anyway, I just thought I'd tell you I'm trying.
Okay, cool. Now, see, that's sort of what, yeah. Does that look, there we go. Does that starting to look like a sun?
Yeah.
I don't think that's too bad. And then we're going to cut each quarter. Then we're going to brush with beaten egg. Okay. Have you brushed yours and got it in the oven, Nicole? Okay, so I'll just bring this over this way. See, just doing my egg. And just giving it a nice it's going to be interesting. I should probably, if I was being really clever, I should actually like take photos. I should have been taking photos at various steps. Oh well. Lump of sun-dried tomato off there. Okay, well, mine's ready for the oven. Okay, so there we go. That's what mine looks like. I'm just going to change that. There we go. Okay. All right. So scary moment. I'm popping mine in at 180. And let's clean that edge off. It's pre-clean time. So a litre of water straight from the tap to the little 1 mark inside the jug. And one drop of dishwashing liquid. Okay, so I'm going to go on to pre-clean, which with my rearranging of modes is now right front and center. And universal, I will do. And I have some custard left there. And what I might do is shave some chocolate. Anyway, any questions while we wait for this sun to come out? Just wait for the sun to come out. Oh, that's so funny. Any questions about anything? Doesn't have to be related to today.
If I can, it's general.
Oh, yep. Sorry, who's that first?
It's Lynn.
Lynn, yep.
Just general, all these recipes in these Thermomix books.
Yep.
When they do the temperature, is that for a fan forced oven?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so every time it's meant to be related to a fan forced oven. Okay.
Yeah. Well, for Australia, and I did double check, the UK as well use fan assist ovens. So temperatures are based on fan as well. Other countries, we can't be so sure. Okay. But yeah, just like always remember when you're looking at recipes from other countries, if they say a tablespoon, it's a different size tablespoon to Australia. So if you do have spoon measurements in your house, it's always worth checking to see if it is an Australian tablespoon or a rest of the world tablespoon that you're working with, because it can make a difference to a recipe. So I always make a point when I buy spoons to get ones that have a 20 mil or four teaspoon, 4 teaspoons for Australia, tablespoon. Rest of the world is 3. So yeah, so it's slightly smaller elsewhere, and you'll often find sets of measuring spoons which have a 15 mil tablespoon, not a 20 mil. Yeah, so that's why when we say with Cookidoo, you know, we've got access to all these recipes from around the world, but look, ingredients are different, all sorts of things are different. So I always try to find an Australian version of a recipe on Cookidoo if I can. There are lots that look the same because the basic cookbooks are the same in all countries, but and so sometimes it's hard to tell, but I actually go in and look and see that it's the Australian one. That way then I know the temperatures are correct, the measurements are correct, ingredients are things that we will know about, and what else is different? Oh, things like, one thing you'll notice is Australia is about the only country on Cookidoo that uses like the vegetable stock paste. You know, that amazing stuff you make when you get the Thermomix and, you know, and you keep it in your fridge forever. We're the only country that really uses that all the time. Other countries, you'll see they'll have stock powder or stock cubes or liquid stock, things like that. So don't fall for the trick. When you see a recipe and it says 200 grams of stock, that means liquid stock, not stock. Okay? Unless it's an Australian recipe.
I'd die without my stock concentrate.
Look, I throw it in everything. It's just amazing stuff. I couldn't imagine not having it in my kitchen. So, and that's one reason why it's the first thing you make. whether you're having an in-person delivery or a Zoom delivery, always say, the stock is the thing that you make, because you will use it so much.
No.
My pre-clean all done. Love pre-clean mode. I think it's one of my favourites.
Excuse me, Louise.
Yes.
What would you suggest you could use, it's Deirdre, sorry, with the leftover filling, other than making another pizza?
Now, have you done this pizza filling type stuff?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, I'm having a look at mine and thinking, I could maybe use it in the pie maker, in a jaffle.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, it's something that looks like it needs to, be inside something, because it's got the egg and stuff in it now. If you heated it up, it's not going to be like a sauce that you could throw over something.
No. You could get some rough puff pastry and make like a turnover as well.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to say.
Okay.
Sheets of pastry in your freezer. Yeah, make some turnovers, or if you've got phyllo, you could do phyllo triangles and put it in.
Okay. Yep. No. Could you use it as a stuffing in chicken? I suppose. Yeah.
Actually, do you know what would be really? Chicken breast. Cut it open, flatten it out a bit, put some of that filling in, close it up, bake it, or roll it out like a ballatine, where you fill it up, roll it into your glad wrap and stuff, and steam it in your Varoma, and then slice it up. Oh, yes. Good brownie points for who suggested the stuffing. Who suggested the stuffing for the chicken?
Deirdre,
good one. Yeah, I would be inclined to go with the chicken, I think, for something really nice. There's some awesome recipes on Cookidoo for chicken that's stuffed and done in the Varoma, and you could just use that instead of whatever stuffing they say to put in it. Because I think it's awesome when you actually steam the chicken. You roll it up like a sausage and steam it, and it's so moist. Really, really nice. Okay.
Oh, fantastic.
There we go. So it sort of looks like it's supposed to.
Yep.
Yes.
And the filling seems to be firm. And can you hear this?
Bread.
That seems to be.
Mine is cooked then.
Yeah. And so for our dinner tonight, we have pizza Pullapart. I'll probably do some cup of soups or something with it. And chocolate peanut butter custard. If I'm energetic, I'll put some grated chocolate on the top. But anyway, so thank you all for jumping on. And any last questions before?
Will you do this as a video and put up on your link tree?
I will. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll have to sort of edit it because I forgot to start recording right at the start. But hey, I'll make that happen. Okay. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you.
Louise.
Bye.
Bye.
Louise, can you just go through those tablespoons of measurements again for Australia and the rest?
Okay. An Australian tablespoon is 20 mils, which is 4 teaspoons.
20 mils. 4. Okay. Thank you.
Which means, so a European one is 15 mils or 3 teaspoons.
Thank you very much for that.
No problem at all.
That was a great class. I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad.
See you, Louise.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Louise.
Bye. Bye, everyone.